On the chilliest dawn of the season, right when the sun fought to climb past the heavy gray clouds, a lone father called Ethan Walker shoved open the entrance to the small neighborhood café he visited each morning before heading to his shifts. He felt drained, managing 2 low-paying jobs while single-handedly caring for his young daughter. Yet that particular morning, something stopped him dead in his tracks. At the table beside the window sat a young lady, drenched by the downpour, trembling, holding her belly as though starvation had hollowed her out completely. She appeared to be someone battling invisible wars and slowly surrendering, a rival that never came. And each sunrise, Ethan carried an additional sandwich, acting as though he had accidentally requested extra. Clara never requested assistance, yet she never turned it down either. She consumed the food with the urgency of a person who had spent far too much time acting self-sufficient. Ethan possessed little, scarcely sufficient for himself and his small daughter Lily. Still, generosity demanded no cost. And for him, aiding Clara seemed more instinctive than overlooking her hardship. Across the following weeks, he observed details. How she repeatedly donned the identical outfit. How she recoiled from abrupt sounds. How she dodged looking directly at others. At times she seemed to have wept through the entire night. At times fresh marks appeared that she attempted to conceal. And invariably she remained in that particular seat as if it represented the sole secure spot she possessed. He refrained from questioning her. He simply ensured she received nourishment, that she could warm her palms on a mug of tea, that she departed the cafe carrying at least a bit more energy. And even without knowing her background, he recognized suffering when it appeared. He had survived desertion, evenings when Lily sobbed from emptiness because his wages arrived late, instances when existence weighed too much on solitary shoulders. One dawn while rain pounded the panes, Clara appeared more broken than before. Her eyelids were puffy, her breaths uneven, her digits shaking around the mug Ethan had set before her. She breathed that she was unworthy of gentleness. Ethan merely replied that every individual merited at least one soul who showed concern. She offered no response, but tears fell quietly, and he acted unaware. Time moved on, days into weeks, and their unusual habit grew into a gentle connection. 2 damaged existences crossing paths in the same quiet nook of the city, discovering comfort through modest gestures of care. Then one dawn, Clara failed to appear. Ethan lingered longer than normal, glancing toward the entrance every few moments, anxiety knotting his insides. She stayed absent the following day too. And the day after. He began to dread that disaster had struck. 3 days later. Just as he almost persuaded himself she was gone for good, the cafe entrance flew wide in a manner that drew every gaze. 4 tall men dressed in suits stepped inside first, their serious expressions sweeping the space like security personnel. Following them came 2 elegantly attired attorneys hauling thick folders. And walking between them, hesitantly yet in fresh attire, combed hair, and a faint aura of newfound resilience, stood Clara. She resembled her former self, yet now a version capable of drawing breath freely. The attorneys moved straight to Ethan, and the entire cafe hushed. Clara remained behind them, eyes brimming with emotion as though reuniting with him felt like the greatest gift. The primary attorney presented himself and clarified that Clara had vanished for months. She was the child of a prominent entrepreneur who had searched tirelessly for her. Clara had fled from a controlling, violent partner who dominated her finances, freedom, and daily existence. She had survived in secrecy, frightened, famished, too humiliated to seek aid until encountering a stranger who regarded her as a person. The attorney noted that Clara had shared every detail. Each dawn he provided her food. Each modest gesture of care he offered with no strings attached. Each instance he safeguarded her self-respect merely through decency. They mentioned that her relatives wished to express personal appreciation. Yet Clara moved ahead before they finished. In a shaking tone she informed Ethan that he had preserved her existence. That his gentleness had shown her she held value beyond the agony she suffered, that each dawn she found the will to continue only because she knew he would arrive. Seeking nothing yet making her feel noticed. And that her mother, after learning it all, desired to support the individual who had shielded her daughter when nobody else located her. Ethan stood speechless. He had never pictured Clara possessing a world of affluence, influence, or attorneys and protection details. To him, she was merely a lady requiring assistance. Nothing extra, nothing less. But the attorneys pressed. Clara pressed. They explained her relatives wished to fund Lily's education, settle Ethan's obligations, relocate him to better living conditions. Ethan declined initially, overcome, but Clara softly rested her palm on his and explained that occasionally receiving aid required bravery too. Their realities differed, yet thankfulness ignored class differences. In time Clara's relatives turned into quiet protectors for Ethan and his daughter, not due to any request, but because generosity tends to grow. And Ethan, who once sensed life gradually overwhelming him, now discovered space to inhale freely. He no longer felt isolated. Clara, gradually recovering, returned to the café, frequently without the terror that once dwelled in her gaze. She grew into a companion for Lily, a soothing figure in their modest residence, and a symbol that the tiniest act of compassion can reshape someone's whole future. If this tale moved you, please pause to like the video, pass it along, and subscribe to Kind Soul Stories. Your engagement allows us to share more genuine heartfelt narratives. Before we conclude, share in the comments, what would you have done if you were standing in Ethan's shoes?
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a twist. Stay tuned to Reddit Tales Times for your daily dose of drama, laughs, and unbelievable stories.